linear time. Linear time feels...
Good morning, everybody. Today's the 14th of October, 2022.
You really know.
I'm going to show you
that linearity is
actually just do a screen grab, 2 to 5 minutes of grabbing the current goings on right here. So maybe you can glean a little bit about butt welding sheet metal, because that's what I'm doing right here, right now on this MG. In my line of work, you have to get it right the first time. I can count on one hand in probably 15 years that I didn't do it in that manner. Get it right on the first time. And that Cadillac hood is it. My hand was not on that. I subbed it out to that guy and he effed it up. But I'm taking responsibility for it, owning it, fixing it. However, I'm still delayed on a couple things because the shrinking discs, although good, they're not working in the manner that I wanted them to. So I'm going to have to go back to the old school method of shrinking with the torch. Oxyacetylene torch, not a propane torch, oxyacetylene torch, and get that hood done for Muscle Rod Shop. But let me just show you on the MG right now.
A microscope.
And if anybody's interested, what I'm listening to is a guy named Mitch Horowitz. I can't stand his politics. I think he's a whack job in some political regards, but he's extremely interesting on esoteric things that I find interesting. So politics don't have to agree. However, I don't think I could really be entertained by Donald Trump on this kind of topic, but Mitch Horowitz I can. So get on this. This is all butt welded so far. Now there's a couple areas that I have to be very, very alert to and aware of, because when this is all welded and completed, I don't want to have a seam. I don't want to see a seam. However, I will see some bit of residue, but if I can mitigate what causes a seam at this process right now, that's what I'm doing. So what I try to do, this can work for, this can apply to you, or you maybe you have your own way to do it, but I take a straight edge and I go along and I find the areas that naturally lay flat. And I make a little line like that, and that's where I'm going to put my next welds. Now if I look right here, that naturally does not lay flat, so I would not want to weld that without bringing the panels congruent with one another. This one's good. That one's good also. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 tack welds on here right now. And I'm going to try to film this as I'm welding. Let's see if I can set it up.
That weren't supposed to be happening. Mysterious airships.
Okay, let's see how this comes out.
Flying saucers. Frogs falling from the sky. Mysterious beasts. Spontaneous combustion. Telekinesis. All sorts of things that didn't fit the straight story. And some people thought that Ford was a genius. He was the greatest critic of science because he understood that
Well, I don't know if I'm going to have a good ground on the table.
Had formed its own
Um,
orthodoxy, its own canon, to the point of excluding
That's
things that didn't
something
fit in. And the novelist Theodore
if I don't
Dreiser
have a
was
ground
great fan of Ford's.
and the wire
He says no one asks the
strikes
questions that Charles Ford asks.
the metal,
To me, he is simply
it might cause a bit of disruption.
Whereas H.G. Wells,
So I don't want to have any
the most damnable
disturbances.
bore who's ever cut scraps
So-
out of the way newspapers. So there was this binary attitude about Charles
Let me
Ford.
see how.
But I've always loved the man, and I think he has persisted.
Let me see if I can
in
mitigate
having
this
legion of
just
fans
real
and
quick.
readers, precisely. Like the Sphinx or the Griffon or the Centaur. And that is, they summon us to traits that are really existing parts of our persona.
Does that metal of the
our
ground
abilities as
will-
human beings that we are
or the metal of the rod or the wire coming out
to the margins of our
will
understanding
really cause an
that we can
issue.
only speak of in terms of metaphor because they're not accepted, they're not understood, they're not part of the common human story. I was told a wonderful story by Obadiah Harris, the previous president of the Philosophical Research Society, who died recently, and we had a very moving memorial service for him here in this auditorium several months ago. Obadiah told me the story that Win Manley Hall used to sit in his office prior to
Okay, here we go.
leaving and entering the auditorium through this side door to give one of his talks on a Sunday. He had a wonderful image,
That was not
a
planned.
wonderful statuette of a little cat that would sit on the altar in his office. It was an Egyptian cat.
That burn through was
Like a
not
little
planned,
bottle of
folks.
Bastet, one of the
I'm actually
Egyptian
kind of
cat
surprised it
bottles.
went through so
And
quickly.
he would rub this little cat, this little black onyx cat, because the cat has the ability to see in the dark, and he was wishing for this ability to see in the dark. Now, this little cat, which really existed, which I saw, has
Okay, now,
somehow disappeared from Manley's office.
since I put the clamp on, this no longer sits really flat.
Select this little cat into existence.
So I'm going to have
I
to.
expect to come back one day soon, and we'll actually have empirical evidence of the power of selection. But we often ascribe powers to animals that exist within ourselves.
Big part of this is you got to watch out for heat. Heat will really mess you up
Mythical or allegorical.
very quickly.
I was traveling in Egypt.
It'll cause massive distortions.
With a friend I mentioned, Ronnie Thomas, the guy who talked about fascism being good for art, because Ronnie and I are making a documentary film about the 1908 occult book, The Kabbalion.
There we
that I
go.
spoke about at our Lost Literature workshop earlier today in the library. And I used to think of this book, The Kabbalion, as a kind of early 20th century novelty of occult literature. And several years ago, I came to realize that I was
It's amazing how much.
I
Oops,
was
shit.
underestimating
It's amazing how much time it takes
greatness of that book.
to set
It's
stuff up.
beautiful, and very relevant.
And you got to watch out for your cables. You got to watch out for everything. You got to be aware of everything. Then when everything's just right,
of ancient Egypt.
you do
And
this.
so we decided we wanted to go back to the source as
That's all it
much as
takes.
we were capable and do a documentary about some of the ideas, the Greek Egyptian ideas that were brilliantly distilled in this short book, The Kabbalion. And Ronnie made the very courageous decision that we should do our best to do some shooting in Egypt because that's the wellspring of some
Buck
of the ideas in this
welding
book.
on sheet
So,
metal 104. Choose.